What's up guys, my name is Michaela and welcome to my channel Michaela Art Treasures. Today in this video I'm going to be reviewing the Artist Loft dual tip sketch markers and comparing them to my current markers, the Spectrum Noir markers. I'm going to start off by comparing the barrels. The Spectrum Noir is black and it has 6 sides, that way it won't roll off your table. There is a gray line marking the side where there is a bullet nib, and then the other side is a chisel nib. There are rubber grips, and you can't really see it on camera, but in the grips there are pictures of a bullet nib and a chisel nib. The name is in white to show up on the black marker. The caps have a color, 2 letters corresponding to a color, and then a number corresponding to a shade. They do not have a name corresponding to a color. Now, the Artist Loft markers are a bit different. They have a white triangular barrel and a gray line that marks the chisel nib. Their caps have a color, a letter corresponding with a color, and a number corresponding to a shade, only this time they do have color names on the cap. As you can see, the pictures of the nibs are much clearer, and what's super special about these markers is the fact that they have a brush nib. And for a lot of people, a brush nib is a must-have with markers, so this is really good. Now I'm going to be comparing line thicknesses and how thick and thin you can get lines with the different nibs. I'm going to start off with a brush nib and a bullet nib, and then I'm going to compare the 2 chisel nibs. As you can see with the Artist Loft markers, you can get a much thicker line, whereas Spectrum Noir is kind of just pretty much the same. If you push hard, it's the same as if you just go quickly, but you can get quite a fine tip. Because I'm so used to Spectrum Noir, I feel like I have a lot more control with Spectrum Noir, but the fact that you can get a much thicker line with your brush nib on the Artist Loft is amazing. So now I am comparing the chisel nibs of the 2 markers, starting with the Artist Loft once again. And I noticed that I can get a very fine line by tilting the chisel nib in such a way that I'm using the finest point of it. I found that with the Spectrum Noir markers, I couldn't get as fine of a line as I could with Artist Loft. And I also do believe that the Artist Loft markers do have a thicker chisel nib. I'm not sure if that's actually correct. They may be the same, but just looking at it on the paper, they look almost exactly the same. Now I'm going to be writing down the pros and the cons of Artist Loft versus Spectrum Noir. If you can't read my terrible handwriting, I'm just going to be reading them out loud so you can listen to me or you can read on the screen. Artist Loft has 56 different colors, which when I write down the Spectrum Noir number of marker colors, it's a lot more than Artist Loft. It comes in 6 packs, 24 packs, and you can also buy it just as a single marker. Sadly, there are no refills or replacement nibs, but I have seen some companies that sell these giant packs. They don't have refills, they don't have replacement nibs, so if you want to get a new marker, you have to buy the whole entire pack. So it is a good thing that Artist Loft has a single marker that you can buy. Sadly, if you do live in a different country, the Artist Loft markers are only available at the Michaels store because Artist Loft is the brand of Michaels. So now I'm writing down how many colors that Spectrum Noir has, and they have 168 different marker colors, which is a lot more than Artist Loft does, so if you're looking for variety, Spectrum Noir definitely has it. I have never found a Spectrum Noir just sold by itself, but they do come in 6 packs and 24 packs like the Artist Loft. They do, however, have refills and replacement nibs, so if you run out of ink in a marker or your nib just gets worn out, you can buy new nibs and new markers. I actually have to do that soon for one of the markers that I have. Now, for the prices of Artist Loft versus Spectrum Noir, Artist Loft does have quite a bit higher price due to brush nibs, but I'm just going to be writing them down for the different packs and the prices. So the Artist Loft 24 pack is $69.99, the 6 pack is $19.99, and just buying a marker on its own is $3.99. The Spectrum Noir 24 pack is $49.99. The 6 pack is $14.99, and once again, you cannot buy them in a single pack. All of these you can easily get on Amazon or with a coupon, so you can definitely get them for a cheaper price than they are on this list. So now I'm just going to be swatching out the set that I got. It's a 6 pack called Bright Primaries. So the first marker color that I have is called Ice Blue, or B2. The next one is Cool Aqua, or B13. Next we have Yellow, or Y12. Lemon, or Y7. Candy Apple, or R16. And finally, Carnation, or R17. As you can see, the caps pretty much match the actual color pretty well, whereas I'll show you in a second. There are a certain 3 Spectrum Noir markers that always get on my nerves because their caps look nothing like the actual color. So I'm going to be showing you that now. The markers are EB1, GB8, and GB10. And when I write down EB1, you're going to be like, that looks similar. That looks correct. But it's the GB8 and the GB10 that always get to me. Look, that doesn't even look like on the cap. And then the GB10 is even darker, so it looks like GB8 should be EB1 and then GB10 should be GB8, and it has messed me up so many times. Now, there are a couple things that I have a problem with when it comes to the Artist Loft markers, and one of them is, I'm not sure if this happens with brush markers, but it really gets the inside of the cap and where the nib is inside the barrel really messy, and it gets on my fingers as well. I'm not sure if that's just me or if that's with everyone, but that's just a problem I had. Another problem is I can never really get the cap to go on straight. I kind of have to twist it in order to get it to go on. I'm kind of worried I might break the cap by doing this, but I'm not sure. One of the upsides is that you can actually fit the caps on the other side. Sometimes it's a looser fit than others, so I'm not sure why this is, but it does stay on there if that's important to you. I'm used to Spectrum Noir, so it doesn't really matter to me, but if it matters to you, they do have that. And the Spectrum Noir, like I said, do not fit on the other side no matter how hard you try. They just don't fit. So now I'm taking the sketch that I made in my Anyone Can Draw 101, how to draw if you don't have a reference photo. It's the fish dragon that I drew, and I'm just going to be showing you how good you can blend the markers and different qualities that they have when actually using them. So one of the main qualities that I really enjoy with these markers is you can make a whole different color just by mixing the two colors. Like, as you can see on the wings that I'm doing right now, where the yellow and pink mix, it kind of looks orangish. ish, which I think is really cool because if you don't have the colors that you need, all you have to have is the primary colors, and you can get green, purple, orange. You can get all those colors. So that's a really good thing to have. I never really tried it on my speckled noir markers because I never really knew how to do it, so I'm not sure if they can also be mixed. I might have to test that out. One of the things I found that was kind of frustrating with the markers is I couldn't really blend my light blue and my dark blue just because there was such a big difference in tones. But you can see here that it is kind of pretty easy to mix together different colors, like how I mixed the, blend, how I blended the pink into yellow. That was pretty easy, and blending blue into purple into pink is pretty easy as well. I had a lot of fun coloring in this fish. I did do pretty sloppy, but that was just me. I wasn't really trying to go for a bunch of detail. I was just wanting to get it done. So you can probably do it less sloppy than I did. I did find that I had a bit of trouble controlling my brush marker, but that's only because I'm not used to having the brush nib. But I know that I will get better at it. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope these tips were useful in finding what type of marker you want to get. Thank you guys so much for watching, and always remember, God loves you. Bye!